Now on Coast TV News.
Firefighters arrested for a hate crime, what police say they did.
Tents in the woods in Lewis, a move to find a more permanent housing solution happening now.
Fighting flooding in Fenwick Island hurdles the town is currently navigating.
Room to grow or time to slow? Lewis debates adding 31 homes to the Donovan Smith community.
The blustery winds will be slowing down tomorrow, setting the stage for a much more comfortable day.
This is Coast TV News at 5.
A crime at the Millville Volunteer Fire Company. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. Welcome to our News at 5. We begin tonight with two former members accused of chasing a paid employee with a noose.
This is where police say it happened. The station on Atlantic Avenue. You see this map location on your screen. Well, Coast TV News reporter Brandon Ferguson, he joins us live there in Millville. Brandon, those two firefighters facing very serious charges.
Maddie, each man has been charged with 3 crimes related to this. And police say classify this as a hate crime, so this is sensitive information. Police say Jay Droney and Jordan Hastings, who were volunteers, chased a paid employee around with a rope tied like a noose. According to the fire company, after that, there was continued verbal harassment and racist remarks were used. This happened in February of last year, but the fire department says they didn't know until last week. The fire companies say they immediately started an investigation and told authorities, who have charged both with hate crime and conspiracy, which are felonies, as well as harassment. Millville's leadership revoked both of their memberships, saying tonight in part, "Such behavior is unacceptable and goes against our core values of honor, respect, valor, and inclusion." Millville says it will be implementing an harassment and discrimination prevention in light of this. In Millville, Brandon Ferguson, Coast TV News.
Thank you, Brandon. Here's more on what Millville says it's doing to ensure this doesn't happen again. That program Brandon mentioned will apply to officers, supervisors, employees, members, volunteers, and implemented soon, Millville says. Additionally, the fire department says an immediate review of current policies is underway and will be updated accordingly. As we learn from this developing story, and we have it up for you right now, stay connected on CoastTV.com.
You might remember a homeless village called Taros that was placed at the old Troop 7 lot in Lewis. It's where the Salt Barn now is. Taros Village is on the Sussex County Planning and Zoning Commission's agenda tonight. That meeting just started a few minutes ago at 5. Coast TV News reporter Zakiya Jennings is live in Lewis. Zakiya, there are a number of people who support Taros and want it up and running sooner rather than later.
Charlie, Mike Agnew is the mastermind behind Taros. He says under the Meyer administration, he now requires a conditional land use permit for this space here. He says that is something he did not need under the Carney administration. However, he is not the only one that supports Taros. While interviewing Agnew this morning, John Blaine with the Bridge Clinic showed up and went into the woods to check on the people living there. A man walked out of the woods to meet the Bridge Clinic. Blaine says he can better serve people at the Taros Village.
They had wash stations, they had porta potties. I know that people organizations were coming with food and different things. It's a community.
A community both men hope can return to this open space here. The Sussex County Planning and Zoning Commission will hear a presentation this evening by Mike Agnew. They'll make a recommendation to the County Council, who will then vote on the future of the Taros Village in June. Live in Lewis, Zakiya Jennings, Coast TV News.
This brings us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know, what is the best long-term solution, long-term there, for homelessness on the coast?
Let's take a look at the results so far. 51% say affordable housing, 24% say more policing, 18% say job programs, and 7% say seasonal shelter.
As always, if you haven't voted, you can go to coasttv.com or use the Coast TV mobile app.
Flooding near the Bayside has been happening for years in Fenwick Island. The town's infrastructure committee still trying to find ways to solve the issue. Fenwick was expecting money from the Federal Infrastructure and Communities Program, but the Trump administration ended that, leaving the town trying to stay afloat on their own. Now, one local hopes they can still find ways to fix the issue.
Hoping sometime that maybe bulkheads can be raised and taken care of that.
The town council plans to talk about possible solutions to flooding on April 25th.
We're taking a live look into Cambridge right now. Nice day out there as we check in with our First Alert Chief Meteorologist, Paul Williams. Paul, as we head towards the weekend anyway, what are you seeing?
Well, we're going to start drying out quickly, but we will begin to warm up. The big deal has been the winds, and finally, the winds will begin to back down after late tonight. Now, our Milford camera and Bay Health, we're holding at 57 degrees right now with scattered cloud cover. Now, temperatures will drop down to the lower 50s as early as 9 o'clock under mostly clear skies. Take a look at some of the winds that were impressive as far as gusts are concerned throughout the Delmarva Peninsula. We had 37-mile-per-hour wind gusts recorded for us in Ocean City, 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts not only in Georgetown, but also in Cambridge and a couple of other areas where we had some impressive wind gusts. Seaford at 37, 36 in Lewis, 35 Indian River Inlet, 33 Bridgeville and Dagsboro, and a 32-mile-per-hour wind gust that was recorded in Laurel. Here's where the winds stand right now. Pushing out of the west-northwest, we had about 32-mile-per-hour wind gust currently that's been recorded in Indian River Inlet, 29-mile-per-hour wind gust for us in Seaford, and 24 for us in Georgetown. It's all about the winds at this particular point. And when the winds back off, that feeling of spring is going to come back into the air, Charlie. Then we may even have what I would call a taste of summer on the horizon.
Hungry for that, Paul. Thanks. More places to live could be coming to one community in Lewis. The City Planning Commission is meeting tonight to discuss the Donovan Smith manufactured home community. The developer is applying for conditional use that would allow them to add 31 new homes to the area. Some people in the community say they're worried about safety, while others welcome the new neighbors.
I think they need to just stop. I mean, in other words, if you're going to do all that and everything, put an area for the kids to play.
The Lewis Planning Commission is meeting at 6:30 tonight.
In related news, Delaware lawmakers considering a bill that would update rules for manufactured home communities. House Bill 39 gives owners more time to respond to notices by excluding weekends and holidays from deadlines of 12 days or less. It also requires landlords to maintain streets, utilities, and trees in shared spaces and follow updated industry standards for tree care. Now, that's waiting for a hearing in the Housing and Land Use Committee.
Amid rising book bans across the country, some Delaware lawmakers hope to take a different path. House Bill 119, the Freedom to Read Act, would require public schools and libraries to adopt clear policies for developing their collections and reviewing content challenges, while preventing materials from being removed solely because of an author's background beliefs or viewpoints. Supporters say the bill helps protect access and fairness, especially at a time when Delaware is facing a literacy crisis.
We have a big lift to raise the literacy rates in Delaware, and of course, libraries we support literacy across the lifespan.
The bill was assigned to committee, where it is now being discussed and reviewed in Delaware.
Developing out of Washington, President Trump is removing the news wire position in the press corps rotation. Now, follow me on this. This is how this works, guys. Journalists access the president by taking part in what's called the press pool. That's a small group of reporters that rotate access to the White House. One slot of that press pool was held for wire reporters. That is rotated between people like the Associated Press, Reuters, Bloomberg. But this is all happening because President Trump kicked out the Associated Press after it continued referring to the Gulf of Mexico as such and not what Trump has named it, the Gulf of America. Last week, a federal judge ruled the AP had to have access to the wire slot, so the Trump administration got rid of the wire slot entirely. A new slot for print was created, which means the wire services must now compete with a slew of other print journalists. We also want to clarify a story we recently aired. This was about Zelke's Beach Arcade. we reported that the arcade is set to temporarily close its original location in Rehoboth Beach after 40 years. We want to make it clear. Zelke's as a company is not closing. The Zelke's location at the north end of the boardwalk, 5 North Boardwalk specifically, that is set to close this summer season due to the One Rehoboth Avenue Hotel. But Zelke's tells us they hope that's only for one season until a new Zelke's is built exactly in that same spot. In the meantime, the Zelke's at 115 South Boardwalk will remain open, and so will the Zelke's at the Tanger outlets. We do apologize for any confusion.
Abandoned house fire in Worcester County, what we know so far.
And we're going from breezy to beautiful in the forecast. More on that coming up.
First, a Maryland senator heads to El Salvador amid deportation fights. Up next.
This is Coast TV News at 5.
The federal judge overseeing the case of a man mistakenly deported to El Salvador says she will allow for expedited fact-finding to help her determine if the Trump administration is complying with her order that it facilitate his return back to the U.S.
As Laura Aguirre explains, one senator isn't waiting, and he boarded a plane to El Salvador from D.C. this morning.
This is an unsustainable and unjust moment.
Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen in El Salvador today, hoping to get eyes on Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Maryland man whose deportation has set off a legal and constitutional rights firestorm. His request to the country's vice president went unfulfilled.
He said he was not able to make that happen.
The senator was also denied a phone call with Abrego Garcia, whose deportation case escalated to the Supreme Court last week, when all 9 justices voted unanimously to uphold a lower federal judge's ruling that the Trump administration worked for Abrego Garcia's return and access to due process.
The Supreme Court was clear. They must facilitate his release.
It's the use of that word facilitate in the federal judge's ruling upheld by the Supreme Court at the center of the Trump administration's argument to leave Abrego Garcia where he is, suggesting that facilitate means the U.S. won't block his entry if El Salvador decides to release him.
President Bukele said he was not sending him back. If he wanted to send him back, we would give him a plane ride back.
U.S. officials allege that Abrego Garcia is a member of the MS-13 gang. Abrego Garcia's attorneys dispute that claim. While the judicial fight plays out in the U.S., Senator Van Hollen says his trip today is only the beginning.
I may be the first United States senator to visit El Salvador on this issue, but there will be more, and there will be more members of Congress coming.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Here's a look at your Bay forecast for Thursday. The winds will finally back off. We'll have some sunshine. 71, getting a little bit better and spring-like on Friday. And then Saturday, a summer-like situation. Your full forecast is coming up, and you don't want to miss it. Yesterday and today, the winds have been more than just a bit of a nuisance. I mean, it's actually made a relatively mild day feel cold because it's just been that blustery. But the winds are about to back off a little bit and just chill out and give us a chance to enjoy a spring-like and perhaps even a summer-like, he said, with air quotes, type of a day. So here's where we stand right now in Lewis. Lots of sunshine and clearing skies. For tonight, we'll drop back to about 52 degrees. Winds, that's our main story for right now. Out of the west-northwest, moving at about 20 to 25 mile per hour gusts. We actually have picked up a 29 mile per hour gust for us actually in Seaford as well as Salisbury, in case you wanted to know. Temperatures right now in the 60s. We're at 60 degrees in Redden as well as Del Mar, 59 right now, Georgetown. But when you factor in the winds, well, to be quite honest, it still feels like the 40s. We also have on the wind front, small craft advisory, Lewis Beach, Dewey Beach, Ocean View, Fenwick Island. This is where we're bracing for at least 25 mile per hour wind gusts, and we're concerned about the same thing over towards Cambridge as well, and that will stay in effect until 6 o'clock Thursday morning. There's a bit of a chill in the air. There's a frost advisory for Newcastle, just the most northern tip of Dover, but I'll bring that up, Delaware, pardon me, but I bring that up because we're in the midst of a much bigger pocket of cold air. We're just on the fringe of that, and we could see maybe a little bit of frost try to develop, but since the winds are going to continue to mix up a whole lot, I don't see that being a widespread problem, but it will become a little bit on the cool side. So Thursday, wall-to-wall sunshine. And the weekend, we warm up, like by Saturday into the 80s. Our breakdown for tomorrow, we're looking for just wall-to-wall sunshine, period, full stop, and a high in the lower 60s. Winds pushing out of the south. Hey, that also helps with the comfort level, by the way. 32-mile-per-hour wind gusts expected by 4:30 going into Friday, and we'll continue to get even warmer than that, so that wind's going to help us out. Now, as far as what we're expecting for Thursday temperature-wise, we're going to have temperatures starting off in the 40s and 50s. Then we'll ease our way up to the 60s, and then for Friday, we're going to be pretty close to the same situation. Then we'll bump it up to like 70s, actually. But look at how clear it's going to stay. And look, we'll jump all the way to 82 degrees on Saturday. That's summertime when you think about the fact that we should be at about 67 degrees normally. What's happening is we'll have a massive surge of warm air coming out of the southeast and a high-pressure system with the clockwise rotation reinforcing that warm air with additional moisture. That combination is going to weave a tapestry of a summer-like day in the midst of the Easter holiday. So we're looking at it continue to stay clear. So let's summarize as we come to a close. Winds decrease, patchy frost possible, and 37 degrees. Tomorrow, wall-to-wall sunshine and 63. Friday, 71, fantastic with sunny weather. And then here's a look at your extended forecast. By the time we get to Saturday, whew, oh yeah, it's going to be feeling mighty nice.
Thank you, Paul. A 100-year-old house destroyed. This is on McGrath Avenue in Eden. According to the fire marshal, no one was living there for years. What caused that fire, though, is still under investigation.
Coming up tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network, right now it's softball when Mardella hosts North Dorchester. Then it's the final score. That's at 10:30. And along with that softball game, DSN has a lineup of boys lacrosse right now. It's Indian River and Smyrna, as well as Bennett versus Cambridge South Dorchester. Then at 5:30, Decatur is home with Queen Anne's and Sussex Tech hosting Odessa.
We salute Lloyd McAllister. Lloyd McAllister served with honor and bravery as a navigator aboard a B-24 bomber in the China-Burma-India theater during World War II. His heroic actions and personal sacrifices played a vital role in our nation's victory over Japan. Lloyd's unwavering commitment to duty embodies the spirit of the U.S. Army Air Forces, always ready to fly, fight, and win.
Spicer Brothers and CoastTV are honoring military persons and first responders serving Delmarva. If you have a family member, friend, or community member that you would like to nominate for a CoastTV salute, go to coasttvsalutes.com.
Spending at U.S. retailers has skyrocketed last month as Americans rushed to beat President Trump's massive tariff hikes. The latest report from the Commerce Department shows spending at U.S. retailers rose 1.4% in March from February. That's the highest monthly gain since January 2023. Economists believe Americans likely raced to stores in March for big-ticket items that could see big price jumps because of Trump's import taxes.
In health news, the CDC considering changing recommendations for who should get an annual COVID shot. It currently has a recommendation everyone 6 months and older get it once a year, but the CDC is considering switching to a risk-based recommendation, possibly those over age 65 or anyone with compromised immune functions getting annual shots. Here's a live look into Ocean City. One more check on our forecast right after this. You can start your Easter if you celebrate with our Sunrise Sermons 2025. Services begin at 7 a.m. on Coast Country, 9:30 on the Delmarva Sports Network, 10:30 right here on Coast TV.
Our Hershey's exterior camera in Ocean City, 59 degrees right now with 17-mile-per-hour winds out of the west-northwest. We'll drop to 54 by 8 o'clock under mostly clear skies. Our umbrella giveaway winner is Dale Adams over Hobith Beach. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration Home Remodeling. Now, you can keep up with your forecast. We've updated our 24-hour weather line. Your forecast is just a call away, sponsored by the law offices of Bruckstead, Mandalis, and Federico. Now, let's have fun looking at this piece of weather information, ladies and gentlemen, your exclusive 10-day forecast. As we walk through the goodness that's this, right? He smiled from ear to ear. Sunshine and the winds finally back off on Thursday. Sunshine, we'll enjoy that sunshine. Feeling like a spring day on Friday, 71, 82, and then we stay where we're supposed to temperature-wise from there on.
I love those temperatures. Thank you, Paul. And thanks for joining us here on Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
Inside Edition is up next.
And we're going to see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.